Coming off a 2-year hiatus, it's easy for a show to lose some of its spark, but wow, was this worth the wait? I just finished season 3 of Ginny and Georgia, and this is hands down the best season yet. I am in shambles in a good way. The stakes are higher, the characters are more complex, and it just hits on a new emotional level. In this video, I'm breaking down what made this season the strongest so far. From the writing, performances, the growth of our favorite characters, the themes that really hit home, and yes, we have to talk about that crazy ending. In season 3, we see the aftermath of her arrest as she spends most of the series on house arrest. Georgia goes from this confident, bubbly woman to completely stripped of everything she loves, having to finally face her consequences and find strength in such a dark time and navigate life during her trial. We see all these pieces that once surrounded her and protected her start to shatter. She reached rock bottom. She is isolated. The smoke clears and we see how her actions have affected every single person around her, especially her kids. And I thought the writers did a great job developing the characters and depicting how heavy this is weighed on them. So let's get into the performances and the character development because season 3 delivered some of the cast's best work. Like across the board, the acting in season 3 was top tier. I was blown away by Brianne Howey. We've seen her shine as bubbly, happy Georgia, but this season flips that image. She's emotionally spent, in pain, she's scared. What's impressive is how naturally she shifts and transitions between those extremes. She really dug into her bag and gave us so much depth and range this season with her acting. I think it was an award-worthy performance for sure. She gave so many powerful monologues that had me tearing up. I could feel her pain through the screen. How the writers managed to make me love a killer so much, I have no idea. But she has these qualities about her that you just love. And by the end of the series, she really seems like she wants to turn her life around and be a new Georgia. There's a significant amount of character development with Ginny, a lot of personal growth. She's actively going to therapy, she stopped self-harm, and the fact that she was able to not relapse during the hardest time of her life this season, I was proud for her. There's this momentum building of her slowly starting to handle situations a little better, her communication's better, a lot of positives for her this season, but with positives always comes some negatives. While she seems a little more level-headed, we realize close to the end of the season that she's morphing into Georgia right in front of our eyes. Something shifted. You could see it in her eyes. Even the moment she was talking to Max about their friendship and how it is what it is, there's a coldness to her now. And I don't know if it's going to go away anytime soon. Not only did Austin change in appearance, because of the 2-year hiatus, but his character was unfortunately forced to do some pretty extreme things this season. Georgia's taken a step back with manipulating her kids, but Ginny steps in and takes her place and has Austin lie in court and say his dad killed Tom, which ends up saving Georgia and setting her free. That's a huge weight to bear. And even though he seems he's happy, his mom's home, you feel the shift as soon as he walks into the house after being returned to Georgia's custody. And you literally see his smile drop. You can see the pain he feels walking back into reality. And at the end, you see him explode on Ginny. He slams the door and holds his jersey that his father bought him tight. But all this is doing is setting his character up for season 4. Moving into season 4, I think there's going to be a huge shift in Austin's behavior. You see threads of his anger this season with him destroying the classroom. It seems like he has a quick temper. I mean, he's a mix of Georgia or past Georgia and his abusive, hot-headed father. It's a recipe for disaster. And it's sad to see that he may not ever have a chance to truly be happy with all he's had to endure. While Ginny now has the support of her mom and dad, Austin just has Georgia, and I feel like that will not be enough for him. Okay, writing-wise, I understand why they had to make Paul so horrible this season. They wanted to set up Georgia and Joe getting closer, but this was tough to watch. Paul has always been one of my favorite characters, but this season tainted that for me. He's completely valid in how he felt. I get he was coming from a place of hurt in the treatment towards her, but the scene where Georgia had her back against the wall and he raised his hand and hit the wall right next to her, that was not okay, especially knowing what she's been through with abuse. I hated that. She looked petrified. I was scared for her. And it's interesting because in an interview outside the show, the character mentioned he tried to persuade the writers to take that part out because it bothered him so much. But they kept it in, so he had to do it. But that was so hard to watch. He didn't even wait until the end of the trial to see if she was guilty or not. He made his mind up and left her in the middle of such a hard time. And while I understand it, it just doesn't match the way Paul has been written in the past seasons. And I don't want to see him on my screen next season, but it looks like I'm going to have to based on that ending, which we'll get to a little later. Zion is another one of my favorite characters, but he really surprised me this season too. And I get it, they have to raise the stakes, keep the drama going, but wow, out of everybody, I didn't think Zion would basically flip on Georgia too. They've always had this deep emotional connection, even through co-parenting, to where they just got each other. So to see him get Child Protective Services involved was shocking. I understand his perspective, wanting to protect Ginny, but so much came along with that decision that he didn't realize, including Austin being taken away and put in his abusive father's custody. He could have talked to Georgia first, and if she didn't cooperate, okay, move on to that. But everyone was blindsided. That was another scene when they were being taken away where Brianne Howey really killed it. Seeing a mother's pain like that while Zion stood there with that smug look on his face, oh my goodness. Joe was still Joe this season. He made it a point to avoid Georgia as much as he could in the beginning, but eventually came around at a pivotal time, I have to add. Paul left her, Zion betrayed her, the kids were taken away. She had nothing. Things are definitely going to develop further for their relationship in season 4. Georgia wants to take things slow, but I can tell how much they care for each other. She told him the entire truth about all the people she's killed, about Tom, and she's never done that with anybody. And he's like, whoa, but I'm still here. He's the only one who didn't give up on her despite knowing everything about her. We still have to see how he reacts next season with the bomb that was dropped at the end though. This season, Maine goes through some friendship growing pains. Everyone's dealing with their own issues and finding it difficult to be there for each other. I was heartbroken for Max. She was the outcast this season, and it was sad seeing her silently become iced out by the group and start to feel like no one cared about her and that she was a burden. I've always loved their use of flashbacks in this series, so I love to see that they included some of younger Max and how things were for her at home. And the themes show that she's always been there for people, watching out for Marcus, always yearning for acceptance, but at the end of the day feeling like she's not seen. She's basically the strong friend, but what do they always say? You gotta check on your strong friends too. I thought despite how horrible she was treated for no reason, she still handled herself with grace, and I'm hoping they give my girl a breakthrough next season and some happiness. She went through it. Nora was being distant from Jenny since her mom and Cynthia were friends, so that was really awkward, but she still tried to be there for her in her own way. Abby struggled with an eating disorder, which was very sad, but some positives happened for her also. She kind of leaves Matt alone and falls in love with another woman who happens to be her tutor. Her grades are getting better in school, so she seems to be a really good influence on Abby, and hopefully next season she can get help with what she's facing. The way Marcus portrays a teen dealing with depression and struggling with alcohol, wow, he blew me away with his acting. It was painful watching him struggle so much day to day. The scene that broke me was when he had just come home drunk and his parents were at wit's end and his mom said, "Do you hate us?" And he broke down in tears and said, "I don't hate you, I hate me, I hate me." And he just kept saying it over and over again. As he's saying it over and over again, he's signing what he's saying so his dad can understand him. Oh my gosh, chills. Also him showing up for Jenny at the clinic. He was hurting, but he still showed up for her. So Marcus went through a lot this season too. While we're on this topic, shout out to the Baker family. It has been a joy to watch the Baker family navigate life with a deaf father and highlighting sign language and normalizing it in a way that feels refreshing. Representation matters, and it doesn't feel like anything out of the ordinary, and I love how the writers portrayed them as a family. I love how they use sign language even when they aren't talking directly to the father. And for a while, the parents kind of were in denial of Marcus, and then Max stepped in and said, no, he needs some help. I thought that was so realistic, and I was happy to see his mom finally taking him to rehab at the end, hoping all the best for him going into season 4. For the majority of the season, he has custody of Austin, and he starts to manipulate him a little bit. Even though Austin put the blame on Gil at the end, that's still his dad, and I feel like he still feels a connection with him. And speaking of Gil, where did he go when he ran out of the courtroom and disappeared? That was scary, so I'm sure we'll be seeing more of him in season 4. We saw a lot more of Braysha this season, and I'm here here for it. I do like how they showed Ginny spending more time with her Black friends too. She's getting a nice balance and exploring, and I love it. So apparently there were new writers this season, and it shows. The writing and storytelling this season was amazing. It was fresh, it was emotional, pacing was perfect, the dialogue was realistic. I have no notes. The writers did an amazing job. We're hit with a cliffhanger at the end. Georgia discovers she may be pregnant, so now it's between Joe and Paul. Paul hates her right now, and she wants to be with Joe. So do we think she'll keep it? This is going to be interesting finding out who the father is. Speaking of fathers, Georgia's father calls her from prison and tells her to be careful and how easy she can be found. And then we see her mom and stepdad drive past her house. Ginny is kind of leaning into a weird acceptance that she's just like her mom. I have a lot more thoughts, so let me know if you want to see a season 4 predictions video. You guys seem to like my other prediction video for forever, so let me know if you want to see one for Ginny and Georgia. What an explosive season. This was a 10 out of 10 for me. Again, the best season by far. I cried, I laughed, I was so invested in the story. It was something about this season that just hit different. They came with the fire, and I can't wait to see what happens in season 4. So make sure you check this out if you haven't already, and let me know what you think. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on all my posts. Thank you for watching another episode of Screen Diaries. My name is Kamara. Until next time, bye.